Oh, Megan, big day today on a Wednesday. Um, we start the show, and again, it's about the Republican Party and what's going on in the Senate, uh, and Sonny just lays right in. The GOP um, is the party of seditionists and traitors and MAGA and obstructionism and babies in cages and just like full on onslaught that this is disaster of a group of people, um, and says the only thing a sane person, a sane Republican would do is leave that party. And then Sarah goes on a further tirade, um, a little more politely, talking about the Republican leaders, the seditionists of Hawley and Cruz and McCarthy and Madison fucking Caldwell, Green and Boebert, that whole crowd. And when it gets to you, you you aren't offended the way that you were offended by Katie Couric or anybody else who just lumps all the Republicans in together. You didn't even respond to any of that. You just said that um, politics is, I'm forgetting the word you used at the moment. It's a moral calculation, is what you said, and that sometimes it's about a political calculation. Moral calculation is how you defined politics, which I don't really understand. Why do you have to be calculating about your morality? It seems to me you should know what's right and what's wrong and do the thing that you think is the right thing. And there shouldn't be a calculation about whether or not um, that morality um, is the best way to play your hand. Um, if you're calculating your morality, are you saying that we will get people, will forgive, you know, proper access to health care for people as long as we blame other folks for it? I'm going to compromise my morality and make a calculated effort that they will be okay with it because we're doing something else that they like. If we're bigots, we can get away with not giving them stuff. That sounds like a moral calculation to me, as opposed to the thing that you never do, which is actually care about what is good for the people or the citizenry, which is where you come at politics and your entire job. Over and over again, you discuss what's good for the party. What will the base feel about a particular issue? How do you position yourself for the best outcome in the government? Not for the people, but for you in the government. It's always about party and politics over what actually is good for people, which makes sense because the Republican Party does not concern itself with what is good for the citizenry. The Republican Party concerns itself with what's good for the Republican Party. They have been the picture of party over country for decades, and you're just saying it out loud, that's great, but it's not great for the millions of people that you are now not helping by being what is now pretty much the party of obstructionism. Um, so you didn't defend your party like you said you would yesterday, and you basically admitted that it's about having a calculated answer about what's right and what's wrong, which is just, it's not, that's not how humans interact. That's how, I don't know. It's, anyway, you go from that to then talking about Nikki Haley thinking she's a front runner for 2024. We're a week into this administration. And then you give the position that thinking that you're a front runner this early is really dangerous, which I would put down in the no shit Sherlock file of political analysis. Just mind-boggling, groundbreaking analysis from you there, Meghan. And again, wasn't part of the discussion really, but then you go to that, you spend a great deal of time about how to position yourself in a campaign when we've been talking about, the the destruction of the country by the party that you hold so dear. And I'm not going to get into the debate about whether or not kids should go back to school, but the one thing that you said in that piece was that you can't imagine what education is like without being in the classroom and going to recess, and part of the problem with you in general is that you can't see anything that you haven't experienced. You can't envision something that hasn't happened to you specifically. It's that, myopia that drives all of us crazy, that you can't see past your experience and your family and what you know, which of course that involves listening and having empathy and those kinds of things. But there is something you can envision, which is the real interesting thing about today's show, is that you have this picture of this ideal lifestyle where a bunch of you and like-minded people all live together on a commune, your word, and keep the crazies, as you called them, out, and you get to live happily on a commune together. So is your ideal living situation an embracement of communism? I think when we talk about a society that lives together, that helps each other, that believes that each of them prosper when all of them prosper and help each other prosper together, I believe that system of living and governance is usually referred to as socialism. And being the fair-minded person that you are, I'm sure that in this ideal situation where you live together and help each other all prosper, you would give everyone, a voice in how that society runs and is managed, which sounds to me like your ideal living situation really resembles democratic socialism. Isn't that interesting? That would put you in the same kind of ideology as, Bernie Sanders, AOC. And you seem so enthused and excited about this idea, which is something that could be done on a grander scale across this country if you and your party were not obstructionists and kept the country from moving into a society where we all help each other prosper, where we all help take care of each other, which is not part of the Republican ideal. And it got me thinking that, since this is your, ideal situation, and politically it is something that can actually happen on a large scale for a nation, that maybe That's where your heart is. All of this bluster that you do every day for your whole life, for your whole career, about defending the Republican Party and the ideals of the Republicans. And again, I'm not sure it's a party that the way you describe it ever existed, but standing up for Republican values, Republican Party, the way that you have for your entire career is all just a sham to get you in front of the camera. Because you admitted yesterday, favorite place, you've passed that on to Little Liberty. So if really in your heart of hearts, you want to see a just society where everyone helps each other, works together for the greater good of your fellow man and woman, and non-gendered, that, this whole career has just been a big lie, has contributed to hurting millions of people that don't matter to you, because none of the things that you believe that would and everything that you have dismissed from the Democrats that would actually help those people, that doesn't really affect you. You are going to have a place to live and food to eat, and you're going to be taken care of, no matter what happens to all the little people. So if it's just all just a game to you, that I'm going to play this part on TV of this angry Republican. And I got to say, you were very relaxed today. So I feel like maybe you let something slip that you didn't mean to. Now we have a little crack into Meghan. Maybe you were tired, Liberty kept you up or something. But, if you're just playing this part so that you have a place on the national stage of punditry, as opposed to actual problem solving or governing or helping anyone, and your contribution is really just a hindrance to getting any of those things that you said was your ideal way of living accomplished, then you're just like fucker Tarleson and the rest of those lying shitbags who just want to keep people ignorant and down so that you can have a career saying stupid shit. Fuck you, Meghan.